Natesh, thank you so much for sharing this film with us, and thank you all of you for coming here to watch the film and staying back for the Q&A. Uh, I want to start with your journey as a filmmaker itself. So, your first short film, Gurli, is shot in black and white. It's frenetic pace. The camera is shaking all the time, constantly. And then you made another short film, and then Pedro is your first feature film. There are threads that connect all three. The fact that they're all shot in the village that you grew up in. The fact that your father is in all three. His father plays Pedro, Gopal Hegde. But there are also differences in the sense that with Pedro, finally, we see you more comfortable with these still silent shots. There's a new grammar that you're almost experimenting with as a filmmaker. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you arrived at this form to tell this story?
Thank you so much for coming. Uh, it's with my first short film, it was the first time I'm touching a camera in my life. Like, literally, first time I'm touching a camera. So we don't have anything. Like, my friend had a DSLR camera, so I made him DOP, and I and we recorded sound with a mobile phone. And actors are me, my father, and the worker who works in our farm and his children. So I had an idea about, like, I have watched films before, many films, and I had my imagination about the medium itself, what is cinema. So I tried that. And I would tell you one bizarre story, that I don't had a laptop. So my girlfriend had a laptop and I borrowed it, and I installed this Premiere Pro, and these raw footages were not playing. It was stucking. So what I did is to see the rushes and remember the sound, and remembering that you decide the cut point. No, this bird triples and this is the cut point, and music sound was playing well. Right. In Premiere. Right. It was not an issue, so I cut there. That's how I edited my first short film. So it's a
Without looking at the images.
No, it's a Shabdavedi Vidya. You know. So why I'm telling this is, like, you figure out your own way to make a film. That is the beauty of it. There is no rule to make films. So then with second shot, I became, the first shot also got very good reviews. Many filmmakers talked about it and all. So then, your imagination about the medium, evolves. Then you make your another short film, which was more subtler, and a stillness was there. When I was making Pedro, I was confident about what I'm doing with this medium. So I had an idea. It's This film is from the life I have seen and my imagination about the medium itself. So I made this film.
Talk to us about the life that you saw that led you to the story, because you also mentioned in interviews that your father is an electrician.
Yeah.
And this is a world that you intimately know.
Yeah.
How do you arrive at this story, and having arrived at it, feel confident enough to tell it using this visual language of stillness?
Yeah, like, many things in the film are directly from my life. Only me and my father knew where it is coming from. So in the climax, you see an electrocuting him. Luckily, my father didn't die, but he experienced that a tragic incident. When he was working on the line, and someone charged the line. That happened when I was in my maybe um, higher primary. So I have seen that.
Deliberately, or was this?
That's another story. But I have seen that, that wound, how it feels, how it smells, So I have seen that. maybe because of that you get the confidence, because you know why it happened and how it happened.
The thing that I find most striking about this film, and this is probably the third or fourth time I've watched it, is sometimes two characters are in a frame and they're saying nothing. Like, for example, Pedro and his sister in law sitting by the fire. And it's only 30 seconds or 45 seconds into that shot that they actually say something. And even after they finish talking to each other, the camera still stays on them. Uh, what are these things that you're thinking about in terms of choreographing a scene where you're like, I want 20 to 40 seconds of silence between before, after? Because if you look at it, the conservative, conventional way of looking at a shot is where sort of this part of the story begins and the shot ends where the part of the story ends. But you love to wallow in these moments where nothing is really happening, but life is being lived, but nothing is happening narratively. As a filmmaker and the conversations with the cinematographer Vikas, what were the things that you were looking for when you're like, now is when I want the characters to start speaking? Uh, are these things that you were talking about, or is it entirely intuitive? Where you're like, let's just keep the camera and see how the
uh, we have discussed, the design of the film is very precise. It is not by accident. It is, by the, you see the nature of the life is such, like, it's not happening in the highlights. We are there, we are living, and we interact, and then we are silent. Such is the life. So we wanted to evoke that, the rhythm is what, like, you are creating anticipation and boredom. Combination of that is the rhythm, right?
right.
So that's why we are trying to evoke a feeling, a rhythm, by, boredom is also very precise. You have to bore to, make something exciting. Otherwise it will be like circus.
I love that combination of anticipation and boredom. Uh, but Natesh, one thing that you do very consciously is that you try to keep violence off screen, or you keep it as minimally on screen as possible. Not just the murder of the cow, but also the electrocution itself. The Pedro taking the blade and cutting the barber. Why do you not want to let us see violence?
Because violence on screen is very futile. It won't, affect you. It's very, what is unseen is very strong and prominent, because you imagine things. Just unsaid is what haunts you. When you show it, it's there. There is nothing for the audience. But what happens in his mind is the very strong thing. Because you're creating the violence in the edit itself, in the design itself. Withdrawing the information is the violence. It is not the gunshot or something. You're not showing it. That is the violence here. If you take, there is another film by Kamal Swaroop, Om Dar Badar.
Yeah.
It's so nonsensical. It is violent. That was the way we are taking. We suggest that he's electrocuted by showing him charging the line and go, the sound of the car, which is more haunting than showing him burn and VFX.
And that crackle, the electricity of the
Yeah,
crackle, I think that's
yeah.
what is. But as a filmmaker, I'm, I'm I'm astounded by the subtlety that you choose in talking about things as violent as they are. Um, like a small thing, like not even using a sound design. You don't have a background score, so to speak. That's forget about priming us to think about certain things or to make us feel certain things, but also to just layer the film in a different way. You're not using that at all. Uh, where is this confidence, I suppose, coming from? Or do you just find it distracting?
Bro, I don't know, it's confidence or naivety. We just decided we don't use music
From
because
the very beginning?
no, we are sure we don't use music, and like it was the design. We are not, pushing audience in one direction. Let them decide what is the story. We are not telling the story directly. They have to, create their own stories. They have to create their own version of it. When we're using music, then again you are underlining a particular emotion. You're guiding audience to feel in a certain way, or taking side of one character. We're not gonna do that. Like we are sure. So we decided the sound design is the music.
And it's a very precise. The soundscape is very, very precise. Like not just the sounds of birds and stuff, but like I said, the texture of that electricity that runs through the wire. I think that itself is something very, very.
Thanks to COVID, we had a lot of time. So me and Shreyank in his studio, we spent some 4-5 months.
Was this folio produced, or you all went to on location and recorded the sounds?
It's on location. Then again, we did Foley, designed it. There are many sounds. We record the sound and placed it. It was very precise. Like the sound, every sound is recorded and designed.
Natesh, talk to me about working with your father, because he's been a constant companion in all your films. He's been present, and I think the way you shoot his face, that landscape of his face, is so moving because, on the one hand, it's so impenetrable. Like you don't know what is happening behind that, but it's that impenetrability that makes it so compelling. Is that just who he is as a person, or is that something you brought out of him?
I don't know. Like it's when I think about it, then the magic goes.
But what do you
We
tell
are
him then? How do you direct him at all?
Yes, like it's a combination. The thing is, he understands. I don't know how he developed that, understanding about this medium, acting for camera. He has that quality. Majorly his face, like someone. In my second film also he's there. The music director watched the cut and he messaged me, who is this who is there in the Paris, Texas, Wim Wenders, that guy.
What's the name of the actor? Yeah.
Yeah, who is this guy? He looks like that actor. So I from the beginning I had that, like he has a very photogenic, and
That's so
you
true. He
can't
does look
avoid
like him.
him when he is on screen. That quality he had. So
Did he always have it?
always, like
And the comfort in front of the camera.
yeah. Even from the beginning, even I told Rishabh that I'll cast my father. It was there from the beginning. When I wrote this story of Pedro, he was the Pedro. There was no doubt.
Natesh, for your artistry, your time, your insights, thank you so much for being such a wonderful audience. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us, Natesh. Thank you.
And if my words confused you, then what you saw is the correct thing. I'm not interfering between you and Full. Thank you.